Hey, fellow partners in ministry, intercessors across the state of Georgia. National Day of Prayer is on, and it's going to be different, but it may be the biggest and the best we've ever had. Last time I shared with you that our state team had kind of worked out a strategy of how can we help families, how can we help local communities, state service, national service, and then beyond. So I told you I'd be getting with you about something that we were working on. It's actually originated here in Georgia. Put together some people to help with this, but a simple way to help families start to pray together who've never prayed together. Now, guys, you're going to look at this and think, well, this is kind of cheesy. It's so easy, but that's the target group. The target group is families that have never prayed together, because we think God is part of the National Day of Prayer, and this sheltered in place, God's trying to revive and restore families, and part of our strategy is to give something to families that they could really begin praying together, and maybe we could see God raise up the next generation of intercessors. So what you have is a very, very simple, it is so simple, it's almost cheesy. So listen, for you, those of you who are great intercessors, we didn't start with, okay, you got to fast as a family. No, we started with the simplest way, and that was, could we see a third or fourth grader really begin to engage next generation in the National Day of Prayer? So here's what this is. Very simply, it's an 8-day prayer guide. It's designed to start 8 days before the National Day of Prayer, with the 8th day being on the National Day of Prayer. So start the Thursday before. And it prays the 7 mountains of a community. Families asked to read a passage of scripture and then ask some questions, and then look at one of those mountains and who might be in that mountain. Who does it include? Like family or education, teachers, the principal, who's had an impact on you, simple things like that. And then there's some possible suggested prayer points that each person go around and to pray. Now listen, how do you use this? Well, what I want to encourage you to do is to use it with the people that can get it out, and that's with the pastors. Connect with your pastors, and guys, you can send this out, and they can make their own video talking about this. I mean, they really can. I'll include a generic thing to where doing something for Kathy Branzell wanted me to do something that anybody, National Day of Prayer leaders, anybody could see this kind of simple guide. You can do this. You can do one, and you do the video like I'm doing it, and just put it out to the to whoever you want to. But I would go to a pastor. This is what I'm doing with the guys I work with. I'm going to pastors and saying, okay, guys, this is so simple. And it's designed for you to be able to do a video and send it out with this, and you can put your logo on it. If you notice, guys, look at it. There is no logo on this. There's no copyright. My name's not on it, nobody else's name on it. So that each church can send it out, and the pastor can send it out one day at a time, or he can send the whole thing out at a time. But what this does, it gives a pastor a resource. And so your job would be able to put this in the pastor's hands and encourage him that this can encourage prayer in families at home. I hope that makes sense, is how to use this. Because what you're doing is you're blessing a pastor, giving him a resource that he can actually send out with his church's logo on it. It talks about the National Day of Prayer. And so what we're doing is we're trying to encourage prayer across the state of Georgia at every single level, from the family to the local church, to your region, to the state, to the nation, and ultimately the world. So, talk to different pastors, give them this resource. You can make your own video. You can use my one that is attached to this. It's the generic one. Very simply, to say, hey, pastors, here's a resource that you may want to encourage family prayer time. Start family prayer time in your church, and I guarantee you'll be blessed. Listen, here's a crazy thing. I just saw a survey done by Barna and Glue, and there's some cool stuff that they're doing together. They just surveyed 5,000 people right now in this coronavirus, just this pandemic. What would people be willing to do to help out? Number one thing, this will blow your mind. Number one thing, 45% of the people said they would help by praying. So we've already got a whole bunch of people that said, we want to pray. And so this would be a guide for them. So use this. You come up with as many creative ways as you want to. You use this any way you want to. But resourcing those pastors, giving them something, especially you let them know they can put their church's information on it, send it out. That way the pastor will be like, hey, this is cool stuff. You just know that you've got a way to bless your pastors, and as you're planning and doing your service for your town or your county, God bless you for doing that. But here's just another resource that we think would help you out. So listen, once again, thank you, and keep praying. And this is one of these last minute things. Sorry we didn't have this earlier. We didn't know we were going to have this pandemic. But God gave this to us, and so you go use it for the glory of God, to help the glory of God in every home, across your community, across our state, and ultimately our land. And so God bless you. Thank you for what you're doing. And y'all keep up the good work and pray on.